Alright, so here we are at the fun start. Here we are at the start of the fun, everybody. This is when the stories kick in. I wanted to take a moment to explain how my perception of time changed, I guess. During the beginning of all this, in the 2000s, when I call it my jump start, my last jump start, when I met Tom, I noticed that time is just going by so fast. I mean, I would sit down to do one thing, and I've said this before, but I like to quote the King Iso song. I look at the clock and it's 6 a.m., and whenever I look back, it's 6 p.m., and a whole 12 hours can go by in blink of an eye, which made it hard to focus on. It made it hard to be able to separate my time between work and myself and my kids and life. But anytime, during my time with Tom, anytime he would be like, remember last Tuesday, I'd be like, no, I don't remember what happened last Tuesday. Like, my brain doesn't seem to associate days of the weeks or months or years, even when it comes to holding my memories. Like, I can remember the memory, but if you ask me what year it was, like, I have to go back and find a spot to start at and be like, okay, I know this happened then, so then I have to dig through my memories to find specific times. So no matter how hard I try, I know this is not going to come out in a linear fashion, okay? It's not going to be step A, B, C. It's going to be a little bit back and forth, which I'm going to have to learn to be okay with, and I hope you guys are okay with it. But I'll do my best to try to keep it grouped, I guess I could say. And my memory's always been like that, by the way. Like, I never really held on to, well, I said that in the last video, I never really held on to information, but like, before all this happened, I remember I asked my mom, I was like, do you think it's a bad thing that I feel like I'm able to crumble up a memory and just toss it behind me like a piece of paper? Like, yes, I experienced it, and no matter if I thought it was good or bad, or, you know, like, at the time I was thinking of it as a bad memory, like if I got too drunk and did something embarrassing. Like, I have the ability to crumble that up and toss it behind me and move on throughout my life without, I don't let it be burned into my memory like other people would have, as if they were the ones that witnessed me doing this while I was drunk, you know what I mean? Like, they'd see me do that, and then, like, they would hold that in their mind under my, you know, my category in their brain. But me, I'm able to take my experience and just toss it behind me. And when I asked my mom this, I was thinking like a denial. Like, I'm able to do whatever I want and just move through life like I didn't do anything wrong. You know, like I thought of it as a bad thing. But, yeah. My mom once told me also that I fell down a flight of concrete stairs when I was still like younger, baby age. The back door was the downstairs basement door was left open, and I tumbled down the stairs. I always said that's why I have a bad memory. But yeah, I've always had that trait. Anyways, so I'm gonna do my best. So I thought I'd start with the thing I skipped over last time, which would be the memory of my Grandma Becky. My Grandma Becky was my mother's mom. I recently found out not too long ago that her last name is Davis, which ties back to Salem witch times. The other name associated with her is Lytton, and I found out that Lyttons come from, like, history of writers, and Lytton is actually the one who came up with the introduction. It was a dark and stormy night. Fun fact. But anyways, we always grew up either living with my grandma or my grandma lived with us. Me and my grandma bonded over cleaning. It wasn't until I was in my late teens I found out she was actually an addict. So I've cleaned like a tweaker my whole life without even realizing it. And her nickname for me was Sweet Pea. Anything, like any lotions or sprays, Sweet Pea, I love them. She used to buy them for me when I was younger. How we'd hang out, I remember growing up in the garage playing darts with her. She'd be sipping on her drinks and we'd blast the music. Every time I'm thinking about her, I play one of her favorite songs. But anyways, in my early teenage years, she was diagnosed with multiple types of cancers. When she was in the hospital, she was out of it speaking, and that's when me and my aunt Nancy found out about my mom's family's dark past. That goes back at least 3 generations that we know of. And yeah, she got really sick at the end of her days. Right before she passed, she had fallen. No, I'll save that part. Anyways, so I'm pregnant with my daughter at the time, my oldest. It was like a week before Thanksgiving, so it would have been 2011. And she passes away, and everyone would joke to me about how my daughter's going to come back reincarnated as my grandma, because my daughter was a girl, obviously. And but anyways, she passes away, and her ashes get split between my uncle and my cousin, half and half. And about a week later, me and Alex, we were driving to Kansas City to go visit my uncle for Thanksgiving. And we get there, we visit, everything's cool. I find out, though, that... So my uncle has 2 grandkids. They were about 3 and 5 maybe at the time. I don't know, somewhere around there. And they told my uncle that there was an old lady sitting on the bench inside their house in front of their garage door. And she had a black eye. And the crazy thing is, my grandma fell a few days before she passed, and she had a giant bruised eye, right? And so my uncle got freaked out, and I don't remember if he put her ashes in the garage or if he just decided to keep them out in the garage where they already were. But anyways, and I'm like, well, that's odd. And so dinner goes fine, and then me and Alex, we are driving back to St. Joe, and it's nighttime. It's only me and him in the car. I'm driving, and he's in the passenger seat, and he's holding my hand, and I got the other hand on the wheel, obviously. And all of a sudden, I start to feel this pressure in, like, my lower back from the seat, you know, like someone's putting their knees in your seat. And I try to ignore it, you know, like, I tried to ignore it, but then it kept getting stronger and stronger and stronger, to where, I kid you not, I turn around and I start to yell in my back seat, "Would you knock it the fuck?" And I froze, because there was nobody in my back seat. Like, and all this happened within like 5 or 8 seconds, right? Like, there was no thinking about what was going on or what I was doing. It was just responses. And from that moment on, I've known my grandma has always been with me. She made her presence known. And with all my heart, I believe she is my daughter, because my grandmother was fond of those, you know, like black rubber necklaces, the chokers. My grandma, she loved, what was it? Oh, I asked my daughter, I was like, if you could pick any eyeshadow color and it would look amazing no matter what color you picked, like, what color would you pick? And she said blue. Or no, purple. No, blue. Yeah, she said blue. And blue is the color my grandma always wore, because we used to make fun of her sometimes and refer to her as Mimi from the Drew Carey Show. And, yeah, and there's other things. My mom and my daughter, they never get along. Like, it's a mutual understanding that they don't, like, really care for each other. It eventually came to that. But, And my mom says this because she reminds her so much of my grandma, her stubbornness and her attitude. And my mom and grandma didn't have the best relationship, so, you know. But anyways, yeah, that's the story of my grandma and how I know she's with me. Let's see. I also know that my dad's dad is with me. He's the one that was a 3rd-degree Master Mason, part of the Shriners, him and his father. I'm not sure if it goes back any further, but I know those two are. My father didn't join because my grandpa had passed away before my father was old enough. He died of a heart attack in 91. So the reason I know he's with me is because when my mom was pregnant with me, they already had 2 kids, and my dad was scared to tell my grandpa about me. So him and my mom had an agreement. She would tell his mom, and he would tell his dad. Well, my mom told my grandma, and my dad, he didn't tell my grandpa before he passed away. And I remember being young, like I was under 6, and we were out at my aunt's house, and I remember it being brought up in front of me that my dad never told my grandpa. When we were leaving that night, I was sitting out in his truck. It was just me and my dad, and he was standing on the porch saying goodbye, and I was in the truck. And I remember looking up the stars, and I remember just crying, thinking that, damn, my grandpa doesn't know about me. He doesn't know I'm here, and that made me really, really sad. Now I believe that because I cried out to his spirit, and like that, like, he found his way to me. And there's other reasons why I believe that's true to come. But that's just a notable younger memory I'm trying to keep clustered together. Oh, let's see. So that's the story of my grandma Becky and how she's with me. So I'm gonna move on to my time, my growth, why I was around Tom. There was one time we were in a relationship, by the way. We did eventually get into one. Anyways, we're laying there cuddling one night. The first night ever I cuddled with him, and it literally felt like his energy crawled halfway inside my body. Like, that's the only way I can describe it. Oh, Jamal woke up. Hang on, guys. Before I pressed play, I noticed the phone was paused at 12:23, which is a reflective number, and my number is 1331, so synchronicity. Anyways, so around that time, oh, hang on. So, Jamal woke up, and I had to take care of him, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here, because I'm gonna have to go back and rewind and figure out where I even left off. So, I just want to say, what did I want to say? I can't remember what I wanted to say. Sorry to end it like this, guys, but if I don't have the skills to piece together different recordings, so if I don't record it all in one, then it won't get posted. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. It's 3:31 on the clock. Thank you, guys.